I'm late. We had technical problems. Give me a minute, please. We need to get Instagram up and running. It was Instagram that crashed. Isn't Facebook the worst company to deal with ever? Let's see here. Go live on Instagram. Done. Live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, Instagram. We're good. Just 1 second. I'll be right with you. All right. I think we're good. As I was logging in this morning having technical problems, I was laughing at a story I was listening to. I was listening to a story about a Hong Kong stock. Let's see what it's called here. The name of this company, Sanergy, Sanergy Group Limited. There was an announcement, I think, by Hong Kong regulators that just said, "Hey, this stock is 98% controlled by, I heard 12 individuals." I was half paying attention. I was dealing with the technical problems here. So it's controlled by about 12 individuals. In other words, there's no float on the stock, a float. So you have the insiders that are not going to presumably sell their stock, and so they control it. And you have a little bit out to the market, and the market thinks, "Hey, this is a real market. You know, stocks go up and down. The market determines value." But if there's no float, if there's very little actual trading and liquidity in the market, then it's a stock that's easily manipulated. And so the regulators put this out, and this morning the stock, this morning Hong Kong time, the stock dropped 98%. So that was interesting and kind of a funny story. But more interesting is the company makes graphite related electrodes for the steel industry, and it just makes me laugh because I'm not saying every single graphite deal is a sham. I'm just saying I've never seen one that wasn't. And I was in the graphite business multiple times. We tried to run a real business, and we did fine. But every day you would see pitches coming in. Graphite just seems to be this mineral that you can promote as the next thing, but it's never the next thing. And so, of course, it's a graphite company. Where are we here? September 3, 2024, episode 271. Welcome to Mornings with Scott, the best damn business show for medium and small businesses on the planet. Did you have a good weekend? A good long weekend? Are you like me? You just couldn't wait for summer to be over? You want to get back to work? I have a young daughter. She's 11 now, and she could not wait to get back to school today. Congratulations, Eva, on moving to the next grade. She has literally been counting the sleeps until school starts since July. She's been doing that. So maybe she gets that from me. Well, my summer, I thought, hey, why don't I start this daily live stream as a test? We'll just see how that goes. I started sometime in mid-July, and here it being the beginning of a work week after a long weekend, I cannot for the life of me seem to get this camera in the position that I want it to be in. So if you're on the audio, you'll miss all the fact that I'm moving the camera back and forth to try to find a decent angle. So I started this live stream, and I committed to myself I would continue throughout the summer, basically till the end of last week, and see how it will go. Hey, Faye Black on Instagram, thank you for joining. And so I've done that. The test is over. I've enjoyed it. And like always with these sorts of new initiatives, you get unexpected surprises. For example, I thought it was going to be a lot of work for me. Every morning, live stream, try to do a half hour of content, live streamed on all of these different platforms. And it was a lot of work for me. But the surprise I got is that the routine, the habit that I got into with my day, including it just impacted everything. This show impacts everything that I do every day, including what time I go to bed, including what time I go up, including what I do when I wake up, including what I do when I wake up in terms of prep. When I exercise, that has changed. And the change in the routine has made my day so incredibly productive, better than it's been for a very long time in years. So although it's a lot of work, I actually get more accomplished at work. Also, I'm in a better mood because I enjoy doing it. So that is an interesting surprise. Also, as it turns out, I love having guests on the show. And a special thank you to Tom Clausen, Jeffrey Hiscock, James Poston, Eric Jones, the Dr. Dapper entrepreneur from LA who joined us. If I missed anybody in the last 6 weeks or so of this live stream, thank you. But thank you to all these people for joining us live. That has been a lot of fun. Hey, thanks for joining our best damn business show for medium and small businesses on the planet. Do not forget that part. So the experiment is over. The experiment is over. I wanted to see if I could do this. I wanted to see what the experience was like. We are doing I've been doing this live show now for about 6 weeks. So as a favor to me, I need your help. Should we continue? Is this show worth it? Are you finding value? Could we be doing things better? Do you even give a shit? I don't know. What do you think? It's been good for me. I like it a lot. And I'll let you in a little secret while you consider that. The viewership is way up. Way up, the viewership on my, we used to do before I got sick, year and a half ago or whatever it was, and I was out of commission for a long time. I was doing a weekly show, pre-recorded, and it had decent viewership. But now the audience already on this live stream, I think, is way up, and the engagement is way up. A lot of that, by the way, is that we're clipping up the live stream every day and pounding it out on shorts and stories and all that sort of stuff. And so that's been pretty good. And I'll also tell you that my goal with this show has been to provide insight, obviously, a different take that maybe you're not hearing elsewhere in stories, to help try to educate with the content that I've created over time, but also to create a community for all of us, not just for me. And I can already start to see that community is slowly starting to form. I shouldn't say slowly. Like I said, it's been about 6 weeks. And so please let me know your thoughts. Should we continue with this experiment? Do we continue? Let me know in the notes. If you're listening to this afterwards on record, not on live, let me know. Let me know in the notes there, in the comments sections. What did you do on the long weekend? Well, I worked on my course. I don't want to make this entire episode about me, but I need to get some things out of the way. I worked on my course that is first module is being released in 2 weeks, September 15. I finished the script for module 1, and I'm going to go shoot it later this week because it is a video. And then I'm already working on just that's a big yes. Thank you, RR, for the vote of confidence on continuing the show. Going to shoot it this week, as I said, and I'm just finishing up the module notes, etc. So module 1 is the first step to the whole thing, by the way, is the first step to Profit Academy. First step to Profit Academy. It's intended for medium businesses, small businesses, solopreneurs. Is that the right word? Solo, just individual entrepreneurs, people that want to earn more profit in their business. This collectively are the tried and true, the tested methodology that I've used. It's been painful. It's been painful for like 5 years. I've been thinking, hey, how do I actually do that? And I've documented it, and I've put it into the course to make more money in a business and to raise business capital. Those two things are obviously related. And the first module is called Embrace Change, Why We All Resist Improvement and What to Do About It. And in that module, you will learn a deep dive on KPIs, key performance indicators, how to manage a business through KPIs, how to use KPIs as an early warning system, a smack in the head if they're moving in the wrong direction and that you need to change, how to use KPIs as a measuring stick for continuous improvement. And we do a deep dive into continuous improvement in this module. Continuous improvement is a mindset. That's what you need to learn. It's not a function. It's a mindset. You wake up every day knowing that your job, in fact, is to change things, to improve things in your business every day. A/B testing for operations. You guys all know A/B testing. If you're in the business world anyways, you know A/B testing for in a marketing context, but you can apply that to operations. You can take every system in your business, and you can say, hey, how might I do that better? And then test it. Well, what's the measuring stick? The KPIs. So we get into A/B testing for operations. The course in total, as I said, is 8 modules. And this module 1, at the end of it, gives you, I think it's also 8 maybe there's a magic number to this 8 here for some reason. Immediate action items that you can take coming out of this module 1 that you can immediately improve your business from, and whether your business, again, be a solo entrepreneur or mid-market, right up to a mid-market business, whatever that is, these are practical, in-depth actions that you can take. Also in this module, there's stories that walk you through how I've come up with this conclusion and how I implement these action items in the work that I do. There's printed materials that you can download from the site to help you out. It's a crazy amount of value. It's a crazy amount of value. That's module 1. As I said, there's 8 modules. For example, the next module, module 2, will be about cash flow, how to project cash flow, how to manage cash flow, how to understand working capital cycles, and basically how to build a proper 13-week model, which is an industry tool. And you should be doing, once you know how to do it, you're going to do it for everything. You're going to do it for all your business. You're even going to do it for your life, more than likely. So number 2 will be cash flow, because while you're changing, while you're improving, it does you no good at all to run out of cash halfway through that process. Each video is about 45 minutes to an hour long, except when I did the test run yesterday on a module 1, it took me like an hour and a half. So I need to cut that back a little bit, but it might be. The point is, there's a lot of content at a very low price. Why is that price so low right now? It's low because the first module is available September 15th, but a couple of weeks ago, we started pre-selling at a very discounted low price that expires August 31 last Saturday. Except here's a just a little insider secret between us, okay? Because I know nobody watches this damn thing anyways. I have no staff. It was a long weekend. It was a holiday. And the person who changes the landing page with the pricing, she's on holidays till Thursday. So I want to get rid of this pre-sale number, but I can't until Thursday. So if you go to the site right now, the link is in the notes. You'll still get that exceptional pre-sale price for the entire course, not just this one module, for the entire course. And then Thursday, we're going to start changing it. All right, enough about me. Let's talk about something going on. Priscilla joined us. Hey, Priscilla, thanks for joining on Instagram. Wall Street Journal reports that Generation Z workers are expected to outnumber baby boomers in the U.S. workforce this year, if only their bosses could understand them. Well, that's a weird sentence, because they're going to outnumber the baby boomers regardless if their bosses can understand them. Companies find their youngest employees the most difficult to work with. Yeah, nothing new there. The bosses are arranging mentorship for Gen Z employees, their new employees, who enter the workforce remotely during the pandemic. These people joining the workforce just never learned how to associate with people in a work environment, to operate in a group. They're giving guidance on how to communicate, when to keep their thoughts to themselves, and they're offering a new kind of perks like on-site therapy. We need on-site therapy for these Gen Zs. Each new generation coming up in the workforce tends to confuse corporate management. True. Members of Gen Z, generally defined as born between 1997 and 2012, are no exception. Dozens of board members, this is how it made the news, dozens of board members from public companies gathered in June at the Sheraton Hotel in Palo Alto, California, to discuss the questions this latest cohort raises. This is my favorite part of the story. I can't imagine in my generation board members gathering together to discuss how they might make Scott's life more interesting and work more interesting to Scott. I'm almost certain that never occurred to them, and it never occurred to me that I should be expecting that. So it just kind of makes me laugh, picturing all these board members in Palo Alto trying to figure out what's going on here. My one and only interview, by the way, I'll tell you a story. I started my career at an international accounting firm, and I ended up in their investment banking group there ultimately. But when you become an accountant, you have to be an auditor. And it's international, a very serious, prestigious accounting firm. And my one and only interview question, I had one question at my interview, which was, do you play hockey? So, times have changed. I did play hockey, by the way. That's why I was hired. Christine Heckart, chief executive of Zappa, a professional development app for Gen Z, told the audience that younger generations want meaning, mentorship, a sense of purpose. The message didn't go over well with everybody in the room. One board member in attendance asked why any of those things should be the responsibility of the company. Thanks, Organic Chef Heather, for joining us on Instagram. Heckart, who says that she has been heckled in the past on the subject, still makes the case that companies will benefit from helping to fulfill the needs of younger workers because they will be better employees. Well, for sure they will. They want security and a chance to matter, she says. And when they're not heard and they don't have an opportunity to grow, when they're not appreciated, they just kind of check out. Lots of employers are recognizing that Gen Z is going to be such a huge part of the labor economy. Well, yeah, you can't just skip these people. That's the way hiring and life works when you're running a business. So employers are working hard to try to make sure they maintain relevance to these Gen Z employees. But a lot of executives are stressed out about this. During the pandemic, many Gen Z employees completed internships entirely remotely. I don't know if you remember in my old content in the Winning Momentum podcast that I was the one telling you when nobody else would that everybody will bail on this remote work thing. It's not going to work. It's going to work for me. It's going to work for some smaller businesses that are professional. It's going to work in part. Maybe 2 days a week you're remote, right? So that you're only at work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. But there needs to be an environment where a young employee can go in and sit beside a bunch of peers in a cubicle, if that's the type of work environment that you have, but generally hang out with people that are both their peers, but because you figure out things as a team, but also with their seniors who can teach them, right? In an apprenticeship type fashion. That is part of how you learn to be a professional, how you learn to succeed in whatever business that you in. I think RR, who's listening here on probably on YouTube, is in the trades. And so you go through formalized processes to learn what the hell you're doing, and you try to get educated all you can. And it seemed to me, as I told you on the podcast back then, that if it was optional, if some employees chose to show up and some employees chose to be remote, well, who do you think is going to get promoted? Who do you think is going to get the raise? Obviously, the person with the personal connection who has learned how to operate in a business environment. Well, now we're seeing that I was right, and that was a significant problem. Somebody here, Chief Executive Glenn Fogel at Priceline, said that he's noticed that the newest generations of professionals need additional guidance about workplace norms. They don't know how to operate. They don't know what's normal in a workplace. Executives have had to stress this even more. Somewhere in here, I don't even see where it is. Well, let's keep going. This is one of the first jobs they've had. Nobody told them how to go about it. They don't always know. Younger workers don't always know what is constructive versus inappropriate in their comments. So this is the phone generation, the social media generation, just trolling everybody, and that's what they know. They just carry it to the workplace, and no one's ever slapped them down. He says. Okay, I've lost it somewhere on my notes, but somewhere there was an example of people doing presentations to management with 40 slides, and leadership just had to time out and say, "Hey, less is more on this." So, look at. Do you ever listen to the All In Pod? The All In Pod is terrific. I listened to it on YouTube, and so this is for tech guys. David Sachs is one. I can't remember the name of them all at this particular time, but ultra successful, originally California, Silicon Valley people, started oodles of business, make tons of money, and they all buddies, and they do a podcast together. And they had a debate because they hire a lot of people. So they had a debate about this very topic. And here was the philosophical question that I like. Who is more impressive? A kid that graduates near the top of his class. So you're hiring, you get a kid, he's from Harvard, very top of his class, Ivy League school, but he or she has had every opportunity in life given to them. They've grown up in wealth, they've grown up in comfort and security, they've gone to the best private high schools, grade schools, they have great nutrition, a secure and stable home life, and they've taken that privilege and they've gone to an Ivy League school and been top of their class. So that might be an impressive candidate to hire. Or what about the kid who didn't get into the Ivy League school? They were rejected. They had to go to some community college or whatever you have in the US, state colleges. But they did very well there. They worked hard. They got a decent grade, maybe not the top of their class, but they did decently. They learned the same science, but you know that they came through from a life that did not have privilege. They had to fight and scrape her or his way out of poverty, out of disadvantage, out of a horrible, dysfunctional public school system. Yet they fought through that and they got to this level with all of that struggle. Which candidate is more impressive? Well, they all agreed that they're going to hire less Ivy League students. That's what they agreed on the All In podcast. Not only because it's the right thing to do to give that second kid a chance who had to struggle and come from a less privileged background, but because the new recruit, the less privileged recruit, often turns out to be better. They turn out to be a better employee because they're hungrier and they're more resilient. They have fought through hardship. Well, that's what we do at our companies. Rarely, I'm not saying never, but rarely do we hire a candidate from an Ivy League situation. I'm looking for a candidate that has shown resilience. They've had a rockier journey to my doorstep because it builds a character that I can immediately see, maybe because I have been one of those kids, not underprivileged. We were very middle class, upper middle class, in fact, but I had my own challenges sort of coming through and purposely, I think, designed by my parents. And I think that's a good thing. I think it speaks a lot to what I am. You know, there's this old saying that the A students are great professionals, the B students are their bosses, and the C students are entrepreneurs, something like that. I may have that wrong, but it gives you the idea. So that's what the All In podcast says. And what's RR say? Depends on whoever has the will and fight to prove others wrong. Yeah, exactly. But I do want to say, I'm going to surprise some of you here. Check my Instagram comments. I'm going to surprise some of you here and go against that sort of wisdom. I don't think it's the kids' fault, these Generation Z, that they grew up on phones with no human interaction. I look at this with my own daughter right now, and I fight with her nonstop to limit her iPad. She's younger, she's 11, but I fight with her nonstop to limit her iPad. She's the only kid in her class without a phone. And you see these kids come out and they're sitting with each other and they're texting. I've had employees do this. I had to get rid of employees to do this. They don't know how to talk to each other. They're just buried, their face buried in electronics, and that is their social life. They don't know how to interact with humans, which obviously you need to do in business. Business does not work strictly virtually. You can't get away with that. The new generation thinks you can. Oh, you're so old school, but you can't. And if you try, someone's going to kick your ass because they're the ones out getting the human interaction. But it's not the kid's fault. It's not Gen Z's fault. It's their parents. They let them do that. It's not the kid's fault that they grew up overprotected, coddled. It's the parents' fault. Have you seen prior news? I think it was like 25% of Gen Z bring a parent to their first job interview. They show up for a job interview with their parent. How on earth would you hire somebody that had so little confidence, so little fortitude, so little, what's the right word? Just backbone, that they can't show up on their own? They need a parent to come to their job interview with them. I mean, and I don't think it's their fault. I think that's the parents' fault for overparenting, overprotecting them. It's not the kids' fault they grew up on participation trophies and think that everything they do is good enough. I had a big fight with my daughter about this. Once she's probably the best skier when she was 5 or 6. It's more competitive now, but when she was 5 or 6, she was probably the best downhill skier around in our jurisdiction. I won't give you too many details on that. And then she went to club championship for her ski race team, and she finished third or fourth. I don't remember. She was freaked out. She didn't like the ice. And she kept telling me, that's great. That's great. And I'm like, it's not great. It's not great. If you were a seventh place skier and you finished third, amazing. Amazing. You overexcelled. You tried hard. You did great. But if you're a first place skier, if you're by far the best skier on your team and you finish third, I'm not saying she is today, by the way, guys. For those of you listening, I'm just saying back then. But if you're the best skier and you finish third, well, that wasn't a good day. And you need to understand the difference between winning and not winning, between doing your best and not doing your best. And it's okay to not have a good day, by the way. It's okay. That's what racing is about. You have to perform at the time that you are required to perform. And if you don't, that's okay. You figure out why and you try to do better next time and excel at that event. But what you don't do yourself, tell yourself is you did okay when you didn't do okay. All right. So, but again, I don't think that's the kids' fault. This is the participation trophy generation. And it's also not the kids' fault that they've never, ever faced hardship. And this is the Ivy League kids, by the way, never faced hardship, which I suspect this Wall Street Journal article is about. Hardship, struggle. Therefore, they're feeling lost. They're feeling rudderless because as humans, psychologists will tell you, we need to struggle. We need to have a struggle to feel fulfilled. Well, they haven't had one. They haven't had one. And so they create micro problems and blow them up into life and death struggles, which they are not. For the rest of us, we just look at them confused, but that's not their fault. It's not their fault that they've had life too easy, and it's not their fault they're looking for meaning anywhere that they can find it, like at work as a primary goal. So I have a different take on this, guys. It's too easy to laugh at this Generation Z, but my real bet is they're going to knock it out of the park. And like every generation, 20% do all the work, 80% just kind of ride along. Talk to any senior manager of any generation throughout history. That's what I'm going to tell you. This generation is no different. We shouldn't smear all Gen Z. And the problem with some of the Gen Z is not their fault. It's just not their fault. And so it's up to us, if you're older, to try and educate these kids. This is not the way it works. And by the way, you think, well, they don't want to hear it. Bullshit. They do want to hear it. Why do you think some of these what we consider to be aggressive alpha male type influencers on social media? I won't drop some names because I don't want to get banned. Why do you think they're so popular and have tens or hundreds of millions of views? It's because this generation is starving. It's starving for guidance. It's starving to hear what the real world's about and that it is a struggle and they can't just kind of cruise through life and be, what's the word? Not be resilient. I know what the positive word is. I'll put it in the negative, not be resilient. All right. I was going to talk to you about a Globe and Mail article about how much Canada sucks for business and taxes. I have run out of time. We're 28 minutes into this, so I will save that story for tomorrow or another day. Do I have any more comments I need to address? Thank you so much, everybody. Welcome back to work. Summer's over. Let's get at it. Let's have a great week, and we will see you tomorrow. And please give me comments. Those of you live gave me comments about whether we should continue this show. As I said at the beginning, if you just joined us, this live stream has been an experiment with my slow summer. Now it's going to get busy again. Do you find value? Do you enjoy it? Please let me know in the comments. What did RR say here? Started back in World War II when the men went to fight in the war and the women raised young boys. I don't know. I don't know about that. Often I think in my experience, it's the women that are the disciplinarians. And I would think that the young boys in that scenario would see the men going off to war and know that life is serious. It's not just chill. It's not just fun and games all the time. There are consequences to life. And so I'm not sure I'm buying that argument, but thank you for starting that debate. We'll see. Maybe we'll continue on with this conversation. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Mountain. Please give me your comments. Take care.